guys, in this video I want to show you how to create powerful charts with MPL Finance. MPL Finance is a great tool to create powerful charts. First, I will introduce you how to create a basic chart and go deeper and show you how to create trading signals as well as plot their performance. First, a disclaimer: any performance of a trading strategy can't be guaranteed. Stocks are risky and you can lose money. The application of this knowledge is of your own risk. If it's okay, then let's start. First, we import Yahoo Finance to gather our stock data information, our stock prices. Then we will use MPL Finance, with which we will create our stock charts. And last but not least, we also import pandas, which we will use for some simple calculations later. But let's start our first chart. First, we enter MPF for our MPL Finance library. Then we enter plot to get a chart. And the first information what we need is our stock data information. Here we enter our stock data frame, and then we need to select our chart type, what we need. Here we enter type. We want to have a candlestick chart, so we enter candle, and let's start our code. Voila, we have our first candlestick chart with one simple line of code. For anybody who doesn't know what a candlestick chart means, I shortly explain. Here you see the open price and here the close price. And these thin lines are the lowest price of the day and the highest price of the day. And if the candlestick is black, that means that the open price is above the close price, which means the price fall. And when the open price is above the close price, where the price increased, that's a white candlestick. So, but let's continue our code. Trend line. So we run the code again and we try to find some trends. So we see here a trend from January 24th till March 1st. This was a downtrend, and then we had an uptrend from March 5th till March 20. So let's close the chart, and a trend line is done by T lines. So we enter T lines and make a bracket. So you have to enter a pair of dates. We said the first trend began in 2024, January 24, and last till 2024, March 1st. This has to be in round brackets, and then we enter our second pair. The second pair lasted from 2024, March 5th, till 2024, March 20. Let's see. We'll run the code. And voila, we have our chart with two trend lines. We see the downtrend and the uptrend in our chart. I want to draw some resistance lines. These are two vertical lines. Let's run the chart again. And you see here at the level of 195 that the price didn't went up. And at the beginning of 2024, there was a kind of resistance at the price of 180. We want to show that in our chart. That we do with a horizontal line, which is named as H lines. For the H lines, we need the two prices. What we said before, it was 196 and 180. We run the code and we see two resistant lines. What we said about 196, where the price didn't went up, and 180, where beginning of 2024 the price didn't went down. This chart looks fine, but it's a little bit messy. Let's do it better. We will color the lines and change the line style. This we have to do with the dictionary. We keep h lines equals dict and 196 and 180 our h line pair again. Here we type again h lines equals 196 and 180. Then we set our colors. Colors equals, we need a bracket again. For the upper line we set it green, and for the lower line we color it red. Then we said we change our line style. This we do with line style equals minus dot. We close the bracket and run the code. This chart looks much better than the chart before. We clearly distinguish the trend lines between the resistance lines because of their colors. The trend lines we kept blue, and the resistant lines are green and red and have a different line style. Let's continue. When our trend line began and when our trend line ended. This we will do with vertical lines. Here we enter V lines and do it professional again with a dictionary. Enter again V lines equals bracket, and now we need our two dates when our trend line started and ended. This was 2024, 01/24, and the second one was 2024, March 1st. We want to color this trend, the start and end date of the trend line, and here we set color yellow. Colors equals yellow. And we run the code and see the results. Here we have lines with different colors where we exactly can distinguish the meaning because of their colors. So simple is making lines in the chart. Now our next step will be how to fill an area. Add an indicator. We do a very simple indicator, a moving average. First, we will calculate the moving average, then make an additional plot, and finally add this plot to our chart. We add the moving average to our stock data frame. Here we use our data frame and add an additional column which we name 20 MA. This 20 MA should be the average of the close price. So we select the close price from our stock data, make a rolling window of 20 with rolling, and calculate the mean. Now we need to make a plot. Here we create the variable @plot. And from our library MPF, we use the function make@plot and add our 20-day moving average to our @plot. Stock data and our column 20 MA. In our third step, we need to add this @plot to our chart. Simple with @plot equals @plot. Now let's run the code, and we see here the moving average. But now we want to change the color and add a label. This is simple. In the make @plot function, name the color. We set the color to blue and make a label with label and name that 20 MA20. Let's run again. And we change the color and see here our label. Professional, I would suggest adding a second moving average with 60 days. Here we just simply copy the code and change the 20 days to 60 days. But now with our additional plot, we have to put this in square brackets. And copy the line and change this also to 60 days. We have to change the color first. We make it orange and run the code. Okay, here you just see the 60-day moving average quite small, so I would suggest to extend the timeline. And we don't make 3 months, we make 3 years. And now we see a quite professional chart with a double moving average with 20 days and 60 days. Now we got an error message. This error message says that there's too much information on our chart and the chart can't be viewed properly. That can be because we have too much lines or the candlestick can't be displayed properly. Let's try to reduce the period for 2 years. And now we avoided this error message. I wanted to show you something else. Now we should add a trading signal. We will use a simple crossing moving average. I already prepared the code and will copy this into our code and explain you then. Okay, here we see that we don't have the library NP, that's the NumPy library. Import NumPy as NP and the error disappeared. But I explain you now the signal. If the 20-day moving average is above the 60-day moving average and the previous day, this is done by Shift 1, the 20-day moving average was below the 60-day moving average the previous day, then give us a buy signal. If the 20-day moving average was below the 60-day moving average and the previous day 20-day moving average was above the previous day 60-day moving average, then this should be a sell signal. The buy signal can be any number. Now I add it as high. At least the number has bigger than 0, because 0 means a false flag and this is not a good signal. So we can take any number, but we want to view this number on our chart. So I took the high price plus 2. And if it's not a signal, then give a none, so that the signal won't be displayed on the chart. Now we have to add this trading signal to our chart. MPF, make add plot again. Then from our stock data, we take the field buy signal. Yeah, and now we have to select the type. The type equals scatter. Type equals scatter. Scatter means there are certain dots in our chart. I will show you quickly. that you know what the scatter means. So we have here dots for our buy signal, but it's not very meaningful, so we will change it. First, we want to make it a little bit bigger because it was not very clear to see. So the marker size should be 40. Then we set a certain marker, so we don't want to have a dot. We say marker equals a hat. So this shows our buy signal. Then we want to change the color. Color equals green. And we also want to add a label. Label equals buy signal. Now run the code. And these hats are the buy signals. So you clearly see the buy signals. And we want to also add our sell signal. So I simply copy this line. Now we want to change it to sell, not buy. The type equals scatter. The marker size is also the same size. We will change the marker to a V, to a small v. And the color should be red. And of course, we also need to rename our signal. And now, not red signal, it's a sell signal. Let's see how our chart looks now. I make it a little bit bigger to see it properly. And you see, okay, here we have a buy signal. It stands around about at the same price. Here I am worried that we will get a loss. But here we have a phase of a huge profit. And this also looks like a profit. That we will measure now. Trading signals, but we also want to see the performance of our trading signals. Here I also prepared a code which I will add, and I will explain you what it does. First of all, I need a position. So that means if the 20-day moving average is above our 60-day moving average, then we have an open position. And in the next step, I calculate the performance. So if I have two open positions, so it means if the previous day position is open and the position of today is open, then we say that we have bought on the previous day and or had an open position the previous day and compare it to our close price of our actual day. So the previous day close price is shift 1 and our actual day price is closed. That means if the stock price goes up 1%, then it's if the stock price goes up 1%, then it's 1.01, and if it goes down 1%, then it's 0.99. And if we don't have an open position, then we don't make any performance and also don't make any loss. So then the performance is 1. At the end, we build the product of the whole time series to get our total performance. And the cumulated product is the product of the number in our data frame. So it's not the total product, it's only the product of the previous days. It's quite optimistic how to say to calculate the performance, because you can't buy a position at a close price. but for simplicity I do it that way. In practice, if you do a more sophisticated trading strategy, then you need to calculate a slippage. That means somehow realistic price that you can buy, for example, a certain percentage above the next day's open price, or any other way, but it has to be a kind of pessimistic factor, and you also need to add your trading costs. But anyway, we calculate here our performance, and now we will add this performance to our chart. So we will make add plot again. Then from our stock data frame, we select the column, the column performance. Here we want to have a line chart, so we enter type equals line. Then we want to color this line blue. And now something very important, we need to add an additional panel. We don't want to add this performance line to our candlestick chart, so we add a new part in our chart which is called panel. So we add panel equals 1. And now there will be a second panel in our chart. I will show you. Here we see our performance, which is quite promising. So we had a few bad days, but all in all we have a huge uptrend which we could use, and at the end this performance looks quite good. But I have to mention it that we calculated it quite optimistic. I want to show you something else, something very simple. I also want to add the volume to our chart. That's really very simple. You just add to our chart volume equals true. Yeah, I have to change something else, but I will let you find out. Here we have our volume, but also a performance chart. That does not look quite well. So we had to add the performance chart to a third panel. Now I restart it. And here I have a quite professional looking chart which shows our performance of our strategy. If it was very helpful to you, then please like this video and watch my other YouTube videos.